the awful battle of the Pekes and the Pollicles, together with some account of the participation of the PUGS and the POMS and the intervention of the great RUMPUSCAT by T.S. Eliot. The Pekes and the Pollicles, everyone knows, are proud and implacable, passionate foes. It is always the same wherever one goes. And the PUGS and the POMS, although most people say that they do not like fighting, yet once in a way they now and again join into the fray, and they bark, 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 until you can hear them all over the park. Now, on the occasion of which I shall speak, almost nothing had happened for nearly a week, and that's a long time for a paw or a peek. The big police dog was away from his beat. I don't know the reason, but most people think he slipped into the Wellington Arms for a drink. And no one at all was about on the street when a Peke and a Pollicle happened to meet. They did not advance or exactly retreat, but they glared at each other and scraped their hind feet and started to bark, 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 until you can hear them all over the park. Now the Peke, although people may say what they please, is no British dog, but the heathen Chinese. And so were the Pekes when they heard the uproar. Some came to the window, some came to the door. There were surely a dozen, more likely a score, and together they started to grumble and wheeze in the huffery-snuffery heathen Chinese. But a terrible din is what Pollicles like, for your Pollicle dogs adore Yorkshire tyke. And his bro Scottish cousins are snappers and biters, and every duck-jack of them notable fighters, and so they stepped out with the pipes in order, playing when the blue bonnets came over the border. Then the PUGS and the POMS held no longer aloof, but some from the balcony, some from the roof, joined in to the din with a bark, 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 until you could hear them all over the park. Now when these bold heroes together assembled, the traffic all stopped and the underground trembled, and some of the neighbours were so much afraid that it started to ring up the fire brigade, when suddenly, up from a small basement flat, why, who should stuck out but the great RUMPUSCAT? His eyes were like fireballs, fearfully blazing. He gave a great yawn, and his jaws were amazing. And when he looked out through the bars of the area, you never saw anything fiercer or hairier. And what with the glare of his eyes and his yawning, the Pekes and the Pollicles quickly took warning. He looked at the sky and he gave a great leap, and they every last one of them scattered like sheep. And when the police dog returned to his beat, there wasn't a single one left in the street.